Next hour, we have David coming on. He wrote a piece called Occupy Yourself. And we'll talk about his manifesto for Occupy, again, yourself. And of course, we're joined with James Evan Pilato, per usual, for this hour, first Wednesday of every month. If you miss any of the show, you can go to our website, bobtuskin.com, Tuskin. All of the archives are there for free, and James usually puts this up on his YouTube channel and his websites, Media Monarchy, and so on. So it's definitely out there, and people can find it. Open source information, James. That's the way to do it, man. You can't withhold this stuff. You got to let it out. And we've been talking about the Occupy movement. Where do you think this is all going to go?
Well, I wonder if this is just the kickstart to the, 4 more years Obama re-election campaign, as we're now almost, just to a year before the elections, which, as the cycles go by, takes up more and more and more and more time. As, of course, we're only supposed to pay attention to the big show and pay no attention to what's going on in your own, backyard. We're supposed to watch the big WrestleMania show as if that's really going to affect our day-to-day lives. But as I guess to just kind of wrap up the Occupy everywhere, that's kind of what it comes down to for me, is trying to make choices in my life that have hopefully put me in a position to where I haven't been screwed over by these corrupt institutions, because I knew that they were rigged, and I don't want to play a rigged game that I can't win. So for me, and maybe that's even what you were referring to with that manifesto, Occupy Yourself. That maybe kind of cuts to the heart of the matter. It's instead of, I'm going to go march and yell at these people who did these things to me, that yes, of course they have, and they're just waiting to bust out the sound wave cannons. Of course, NYPD is going to have, no problem. And of course, they'll have a huge blast if and when violence breaks out, because they'll be able to bust out all their toys that we've tested on third world countries, and then we'll roll out the sound wave weapons, and there's virtually no escape and no defense against something like that. Occupy yourself, I would kind of take it to mean check yourself and take some kind of responsibility for yourself. And again, maybe it's easy for me to say because I haven't been screwed by a corporation or lost my job that got shipped overseas or had my home foreclosed upon or any of those things. But again, I guess it kind of comes back to the point of, I don't want to play those games in the first place. That, to reference what I said before, that just being frustrated with the constant, surprise and shock from people that, oh my God, I can't believe that snake bit me, or I can't believe that, 3-card Monty on the corner was a scam, that we kind of keep falling for it again and again.
Well, the big part of this is the whole financial system as a whole. And people want to say it's about corporate financing of elections, that it's about the 99 percenters. I did a look at trends. Did you notice the emphasis on this 99% thing?
It's gone through the roof.
Yeah, it's funny to me, this 99%, they keep saying we need a democracy. We need the majority to be heard. Mm-hmm. But they don't realize how vulnerable we are with that.
Mm-hmm. Well,
this isn't a democracy. We have a republic, and for a good reason, in my opinion.
Supposed to have a constitutional republic, and if this is always a great kind of tool to help kind of blow people's minds, is to say, no, we're not necessarily supposed to be a democracy. We're supposed to be a constitutional republic, and just tell them, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the democracy? Oh, wait, no, that's not in there. It's supposed to be a republic.
Yeah, so this 99%, I feel like this is how it really is. We got 10%, if that, on one end of the spectrum, and then maybe 1% on the other end of the spectrum, and all the Dancing with the Stars fans in the center. Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, I think the real divide is between those who are apathetic and those who are willing to stand up.
Does this, in a way, though, does this mirror some kind of, the way the Third Reich began? It's like, oh, well, get the, the disaffected, young people, and then get the unemployed, and then get the and all the other folks, and you'll have these people as, again, people have speculated, oh, could this turn into Obama's civilian national security force that's needs to be just as powerful, just as strong, just as well funded as the military?
I think there's a potential for that, but I also see that there's a lot of free spirits involved with this.
Hmm.
So I don't think it's cohesive enough, perhaps, to lead towards one Hitler Youth type group.
Hmm.
I just think it's too scattered. And I know that's one of the criticisms that the lamestream has applied to this is that there's not one set of demands.
Hmm.
And that's true. But the bottom line is we need to be a part of this and speak our minds, regardless of who started it or who's involved now. It's important that in general we take advantage of these movements and let our voices be heard. Say, hey, here we are.
Hmm.
We're the guys who are anti the Fed. We're the guys who don't like some of these other problems that we have in our world today. And without alienating people, say, here we are. As much as I support you guys and don't want to be divisive, here we are. And we are very much a part of taking a stand and doing something. Now, maybe I'm being Pollyannish with all this. I don't know. Maybe that sounds better on paper than it does in reality. I don't know.
Well, and you can unfortunately make the pretty strong argument that the reason the so-called conservatives are so successful is that they'll pretty much get in lockstep on whatever kind of issue or whatever moral panic of the day. They'll all get behind each other because they'll get the churches and they'll get those community organizations, and they all come together and will kind of vote as a unit. But then the left and the well-meaning left and the so-called progressives will all battle each other and say, I'm not going to support you because I don't think you're punk, or you're not a vegetarian, or you think 9/11 was an inside job, or all of those things. So it's the huge fracture.
Yeah, there was already in our local group demands to not have hamburger eating Diet Coke drinkers there.
So I don't want any meat next to me because I'm vegan and you're not. Yeah. So those are the things that, because I would more align myself with, traditional progressive kind of left causes, at least socially. And those are the things that, you eat meat, so I can't have you next to me.
We need to put that stuff aside. Although it's good to bring awareness to the fact that the food they're eating is poison, still, I don't think that we should make demands to exclude people who, people should have the freedom of choice to do what they want. At the end of the day, I'm a libertarian, and as long as you're not violating natural law, you're all right with me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it comes down to. I want to shift gears here a little bit. There's lots to talk about. And one of the stories that you brought forth to me that I want to get to at some point here, and we only have a minute before we're going to take another quick break, James. But I want to talk about this Starbucks story.
Oh, yeah.
Because
it still really relates. And that's what you were saying. We were going to find that the Occupy stories kind of weave their way through the different areas. So things I've posted on Food World Order and Cyberspace War still connect back to the Occupy Wall Street. Even though this isn't explicitly about that, but it's an article from Paul Joseph Watson. Starbucks launches Jobs for USA PR stunt with a Wall Street front group. It's called Let's Create Jobs for USA. And it's being bankrolled, of course, by the likes of Bank of America and Goldman Sachs and Deutsche.
Of
and
course,
JP
all the
and
usual suspects. James, let's talk about that right when we get back from this quick break. Don't go anywhere, folks. It's the Bob Tuskin Show with James Evan Pilato of MediaMonarchy.com, FoodWorldOrder.com, and all the other great sites he has. We'll be right back.